Alright, let's talk about being a male in nursing school, or man in nursing school, whatever you want to say. So, full disclosure, I did not go to a four-year university. I went to a community college. So, my experience may be a little different than others simply because I went to a community college and none of us were straight out of high school. Not a single one. I think the youngest person in my class was like 23. So that's 5 years out of high school. So, four-year university, typically people out of high school may be a little bit different. But, let's go back to the original point, being a man in nursing school. So, in my nursing school, in my particular program, I was not just a man, I was the man. That's right. Not because I was a cool guy, not at all. Simply because I was the only one. I was the man in nursing school. So, when you go to nursing school, a lot of people say, hey, you know, you're going to be in there with a bunch of girls, and they're all going to look pretty, and man, you're going to just be flirting with everybody, and it's going to be a lot of fun. You are actually 100% wrong if that's what you think is going to happen. You're going to be in there with a lot of people, a lot of women, early in the morning when no one is happy and everybody is stressed to the max, and ain't not a one of you looking at each other like, let me get with that. That's right. That fantasy that you got in your mind, that mess can go ahead and exit the building. Now, when I went to nursing school, I was already married and I already had one child. So, I did not come in nursing school looking for love, per se. I did come in nursing school looking for education, looking for a way to better my life, my child's life, my one child at the time. So, if you think you're going to go in nursing school as a man and you're going to find a lot of pretty women and you're going to talk to a lot of pretty women, that ain't happening. Because y'all in there learning about gross things that the human body does, and then gross ways on how to treat what the gross things that the human body does. So, don't believe me? Look up how to cure C. diff. That's right. And you get to discuss that with a lot of people. Number 2, and this one, well, I didn't even number the first one, but let's just go on. Second thing, I did not do an OB rotation while I was in nursing school. Everyone else got to do sort of an OB rotation. Babies aren't really born all at once at the same time. I didn't do an OB rotation, but I did do a surgical rotation to kind of substitute that. So if you're going in there, guys, at least in my case, if you're going in there thinking that you want to be an OB nurse, I did not do an OB rotation. I didn't do one simply because, to be honest, I was a man, and my instructor had decided that it probably wasn't the correct time for me to be in, to have a patient that was delivering a baby. So I did not do an OB rotation. It didn't happen for me. Did happen for some of my girls. It wasn't even an option for me. But like I said, I did a surgical rotation instead, so it's not like I got to skip out on school that day. That didn't happen. Typically, when you are the man in nursing school, or a man in nursing school, you're going to get asked different questions. A lot of times in nursing school, there are, I don't want to say political questions, but questions that kind of require a different opinion in nursing school. And it's not like a black and white answer. It's kind of like a critical thinking answer. So a lot of times, in my case in particular, since I was the only man, we would have critical thinking questions that the instructor would provide, and then they would say, Chris, what do you think about this? You know, and I was typically one of the first ones to speak. And then you could definitely see the differences in my way of thinking versus a lot of the girls' ways of thinking, because of I guess the way our brains are put together, to be honest with you, because, you know, the analytical versus the informative way of thinking, or you know, whatever you want to call it. So you're going to get asked a lot of questions if you're a man in nursing school, like a lot. And I don't want to say that different things are expected of you, because I will say in my nursing school, there were no favorites. You know, we were all grunts. We were all, you know, students. We were all expected to do the exact same thing. If I didn't do something, just like one of my female counterparts didn't do something, we both got the same amount of trouble or punishment or whatever it may be. There were absolutely no favorites. There were absolutely no, you know, because he's a man, he gets away with this. At least in nursing school, that was not the case at all. And then, you know, when it came to testing, there were no favorites in testing. To an extent, I'll say if you had, you know, like I think it's kind of EMP, something like that. Like if you need separate setting, they did give people separate settings, but it wasn't because they're playing favorites. It was because you had some sort of testing anxiety or something. So you're not going to get pretty girls. It's not happening. Just go ahead and leave that fantasy out your mind. You're in there talking about gross things and gross ways to treat them. That's what's going to happen, brother. There's no favorites. You're probably not going to do an OB rotation. More than likely, you're not going to do an OB rotation. And, you know, it was just a very good way to learn. Nursing is, I want to say it's like 96% women. And so when you go into nursing school as a man, you're going to probably be the only one. I was the only one out of 30. 29 women, 1 man, this dude right here. So if you are a man, you're thinking about going to nursing school, please do it. I encourage you to do it. You know, I did it. I made it through it. It wasn't the worst thing. I would definitely not want to go back. But being with all those women did not make it any worse. You know, we were all in there together. We were all in there as students. So don't be discouraged because it is a female dominant field either, because there are plenty of opportunities for men, because when you look at the job application, it does not really say you have to be a man, you have to be a woman to do this job. So definitely if you are a man, go ahead, do nursing school. But just don't go into it for the wrong reasons. Go into it because you want to be a nurse. That's what I did. And, you know, it's worked out so far. Hope it helps. Thank you much.